Welcome. It is a little bit after 6 o'clock. It's the Board of Water Commissioners meeting at 401 Central Street. We'll call the meeting to order. And first order of business, I'll make an announcement and then we'll do citizens' query. The outdoor water use is banned 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We're asking for continued effort with conserving water. The operations report I looked at with Mary Beth, we should be able to talk about some of the significant differences last year to this year. Several million gallons down, which is excellent from the same time last year. With the recent rain, hopefully people don't think, yay, it's all set. It isn't. Take a ride in Ipswich and take a look at their reservoir. Mary Beth?
Just one thing on that, I just want to, we're in the process of restoring the message boards. I didn't want people to think because the message isn't flashing, the ban is over. Those cloudy days wasn't enough to charge it, so we're working on getting that back up and running again.
Okay, well, duly noted. And that's what I said, just for a few rainy days isn't solving this. We're going to need several more days and a snowpack this year. And anyway, so continued support from everybody is greatly appreciated. So, all right, first thing, citizens' query, call it to order. Anybody have any issues? Jamie? Anybody else? Okay, we'll close it and move on. Excuse me. Old business number one, abatement request for 112 Weathersfield Street. And this is a letter to the resident. And this is dated October 3rd. Any response from said resident?
No,
And we gave them, 60 days?
per the board's request, yes.
Okay, so this is just a marker.
Just an update on the board that we're working on it.
Good, thank you. Revisions, number 2, revisions to the water use bylaw. And there's a note here, it says table 60 days. Is that old?
You wrote on my sticky.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Now, I know we've been back and forth with Judy. Is that settled, do we think?
You have the latest draft from town council, and there should be, you have the original, you have what was voted on at May 2016 town meeting.
Yeah.
You have what I proposed, which on mine, the added sections were all in gray. And then you also have before you what town council has drafted up. The question came up, the difference between water supply conservation versus water supply emergency. So to make it simple, has just added that both in the purpose. You'll see section 2 on page 1 purpose. It says state of water supply conservation or a state of water supply emergency. And this does include the section on section 9, which is on page 3, which are not numbered, but it's page 3, section 9, private wells. And section 10, the fines have increased. This is what's allowable by Mass General Law. $300 for the second violation. First violation is $100. Second violation is $300.
Well, this reads 50, 100, 300.
I'm sorry.
Okay, 100 for the second, 300 for the subsequent. No, this is saying any person violating the law, blah, 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 the amount of $50 for the first violation, 100 for the second,
I'm
and
sorry.
300 for the third.
I read that wrong. Thank you.
It's okay.
Section 11 was added, and section 12 exemptions.
Okay.
The only thing that this didn't cover that I was trying to get in this time around, because it's, our restrictions are solely based upon the water use, our Water Management Act permit. This does not cover that. That's, that was in mind, but that's what I was trying to get in there, was the part about what we have to do, because there's two separate things that happen. We have water conservation, which comes from, before the state says it, it comes from our Water Management Act permit. we've already instituted restrictions before the state has come down and has said, you're at the drought watch warning emergency. So there's two things going on, and I wanted to cover, so that wasn't put in here this time. I mean, we can take a look at it again if the board would like to for a May town meeting, or just leave it as is.
I think we just, we don't want to come down with a draconian set of laws or bylaws. I think, we've brought it up, the subject, people are living through the drought. First, small steps. Things were more critical, I'd say maybe we need to do, but, I think this is a measured response for the board. I don't know, gentlemen, you agree? Or? And so I'll just read the sections you just talked about. Was some of it's just boilerplate restrictions, they're right from the state using their language. Section 8, state of water supply emergency compliance with DEP orders, goes into describe why we have to do it and how it's done. And upon notification, what we can then do. We had no bylaws that said we could ask private well owners to be part of the same conservation effort. Same pile of water that they're pulling out of. So this basically gives us the ability to say, Section 9, upon notification that the Department of Environmental Protection has declared either a state of water supply conservation or a state of water supply emergency.
There's a typo in that second line.
Where?
The zero?
It says of instead of or. State of water supply conservation.
Or a state of water supply emergency for an area that includes the town of Raleigh. The Board of Water Commissioners may regulate and control the use of all private wells consistent with this bylaw and consistent with their regulation of the town's water users or water consumers. And all this does is give us the ability to ask the private or direct private well owners to adhere to the same conservation rules and regs that the town's wells are falling under. It's not singling them out, it's not targeting them, it's asking them to be part of the same rules and regs that we all have. Granted, people with wells want to have wells in independence. However, during a state of emergency or warning or watch or whatever, they're still drawing from the same aquifer. So we would ask that we be able to administer them the same way. So it's a level playing field, if you will. That if someone goes without water, everyone's going without water and such. Questions? Issues? So that'll be coming up at town meeting. Mary Beth, any questions?
No. Oh, so is the board all set with the way this has been the final, is this your final version you want to go to town meeting so I can let,
Yeah, this is the stuff that Judy Pickett, the back and forth includes?
yep.
Yeah.
So do you want to vote on that for?
Yep, and can we put some kind of versioning on this as well? Because right now, it's hard to keep track of everything, to just call it the Water Use Restriction Bylaw version 1.0 and whatever the date is.
Okay, can we just do that for in-house record keeping? Because
Yeah,
I don't think, because this is what's going to town
Right, I'm talking about for
for
ours, so
record,
that
for
we
in-house
know
purposes.
what we have and which
Sure.
one's enforced that
You
we've
got
acted
it.
on. So, make a motion?
I'll make a motion to forward to the town administrator the water use restriction bylaw as amended.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Excellent. Mary Beth, nice job on the back and forth for that. That's a lot of administrative paperwork. So, all right, number 3's in order. Water supply update, drawdowns and system delivery. And Mark informed me that there is a diagram. Did you provide this, Mark?
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
it came out of one of my manuals that from taking the class.
And so if you want to look, this is the diagram. And I don't know, Mark, do you want to speak to it, or Mary Beth? Anybody have a preference? Okay.
It's basically just describes what we're talking about, the drawdown, where your static water thing is. When you turn the pumps on, it shows you how the drawdown is. It If you look down the center, it shows you what I'm talking about, when I've talked about the screen at the bottom of the well and what the piping looks like. And then you have observation wells on either side of it, so you can see where the drawdown is further down the line. It's just to give you a visual of what we've been talking about, for the most part.
Good. And Mary Beth, this is the year-to-date usage?
Yes, this, I had put this on a separate piece, but this, the board gets this every month. This is on the first or second page of the monthly operations report, but I pulled it out separately because you wanted it.
Yeah, I want to kind of have it with this and specifically point to people. And so in 2015, July, August, September, we used 15.4, 15.5, 14 million gallons. In the same time period in 2016, we used 17.1, which is about 2 million more. August, it went down a little bit from 15 to 14. And then September, it went from 14 to 10 million. So from June to September, that's a $4 million. $4 million. You can tell what I was doing all day. Numbers. 4 million gallon change. That's significant, and that's everybody that's out watching this and part of it. That is awesome. So people should be very proud of themselves. They've done a fantastic job saving water. I know our garden went to rack and ruin, and we let the rabbits and the deer consume what was left after the growing season. But in my lawn, with this last rain, is starting to look like the savanna instead of the Sahara. But that's pretty much everyone. So, but well done. People should be proud of that. Anything you want to add on this? The static water levels looks like things are kind of staying stable. Is that a good way to describe it, Mary Beth? The static water.
Yeah, I just printed these out like 10 minutes before the meeting, so I'm just looking at it right now with the board.
But
Yeah.
reading it, it's looking like, you know, that's just well number 3. Looks
So-
like it's fairly static. Well number 2, which is our best well,
Yep,
you
seems to
know,
be,
drawdowns are staying consistent.
yes.
So it's almost like we're doing the drawdown and then they're recharging overnight. And we're not having the wells trend down. They look like they're trending in a stable down, but I mean, they're down a little bit, but stable. Mark, you've done waters before. Would you agree with that
Yeah,
assessment?
They're looking pretty stable, yeah.
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 So what happened on well number 3 on the 5th and 6th of October?
3. October 5th and 6th.
Where the static water level, as I understand it, the level went up. The drawdown, though, I mean, the numbers are kind of reversed. I mean, I don't quite understand. And then on the 29th, it's a 0, which
Which means they
presumably means the
didn't,
pump was
they didn't
turned
get a
off.
reading.
Means they didn't read they didn't take the reading. This is compiled by human
Okay.
hands. And what date were you saying?
The
I don't
5th and
see-
6th, that they're right at the
5th and
bottom.
6th.
On
Yeah.
Station 3.
On
Oh,
well-
station 3.
well station number 2.
Yeah. 811-2, 811-3. Something to look into. I mean, if you don't have an answer right off the bat.
I'm not sure what is the question? I don't see anything that's
The
abnormal.
numbers look, so you're looking at the first column, it's, 10 point whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then we get the last two numbers, it's 8 and 8.
Oh, it's data entry. That's what I'm gonna say, because it's the same numbers. It's the same exact numbers as well number 2 and well number 3.
So human error.
Human error. So I'm gonna
Okay.
say that the drawdown listed for well number 3 is incorrect.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
looking that way.
It's the same, because we recorded it in the, under well number 2. There's no way that they're the same. and have the same drawdown because they're not consistent. It's just human error.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole goal of this report, and the reason I asked you to include it was more of this versus a scientific gauge and the exact millimeters of whatever. It's to just know, to do a trend analysis, and that gives it to us, and if that looks like human error, that's okay.
No, what it is, you know, in an Excel spreadsheet, when you have all the tabs across the bottom, they probably clicked on it. That's my guess.
Yeah, and since it looks like it,
It
same
gives
one
us
as
the
the other one.
information we need anyway, so.
But, yeah,
So,
But the,
it's the
The
same-
drawdown's staying pretty stable.
It's the same
from what I was
numbers on the
looking at.
two, on well number 2 and well number 3 have the same set of
Right.
numbers for the last two, so.
Yeah.
But the whole trend prior to that looks fine.
yeah, we'll correct that tomorrow.
but the, on the summary, what I assume is the summary sheet, which is this one, Mary Beth? Those numbers don't tie back to these detailed numbers. So you've got the static water level on well number 3 is approximately 10, and now you've got it as 25.4. So I'm confused.
Okay, so these were, because we didn't have any starting point from the beginning of the summer, the numbers that you're looking for, if you read what it says well drawdown after redevelopment. This was the numbers that we got when we redeveloped all of the wells. So that was after they were cleaned.
But it looks like,
It has nothing to do with what we've been taking for the last 60 days, but to give the board an idea of where things should be under normal operating conditions, that's the only thing I had to give you. If it's confusing, then you can just disregard
You
it.
mean as a baseline?
Yeah,
well,
because we didn't have anything, I didn't have any data collected in March and April for drawdowns. They weren't collecting them.
yeah, okay. But the data is going into on this summary page, the data is going into the wrong columns. So you've got the static water level, which is higher than the dynamic head, or lower than the dynamic head, whereas those numbers should be reversed. It's my understanding. They're the wrong way round.
Yeah, again, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, would you please look into those, and then just for the next meeting, just give us an update? Because Bernie's right, those look like they're inverted.
Are you talking about the static water level?
Yeah.
And then the
20.
dynamic head?
Yeah.
That's correct. Your static is when you're not pumping, dynamic's when you're pumping, so it would be lower.
See, dynamic should be lower than your...
Yeah, because, I'll show you.
Then they're wrong on this one, then. One way or the other, it's,
Your static, that's your static. Turn your pump down, that's your dynamic down there.
Okay.
So you see, and you're measuring from here,
Mhm.
and you get down, so it would be
No, it's not.
a higher number.
But, so if it's the static is 10, and your dynamic's 21.
That means that you're 10 here, when you turn the pumps on, it goes down, because remember, you're measuring
It's
it
the
from here,
opposite.
from the
right,
top of the wellhead,
Yep.
right.
down to where you're hitting the water. So it draw down so that the number would be bigger.
Right,
Right.
so, but that's not that's not the way these numbers work. It's the other way round. Whatever is, there's a basic
See, here it's
inconsistency between the
25,
two.
22, and here it's 10 and 21. Whereas the static here is it's 3 feet difference. Here, it says it's 10 feet and 21 feet, so one set's not
You're looking at
correct.
the same.
Yeah, well, number 3.
Well, number 3, and you're looking at,
So you get 25 and 12, and then you get 10 and 21. You see how the numbers are inverted? Once that's... See how they're inverted? So up here, for number 3, you get 25 and 12. And then go down here, you've got 10 and 22. So that's what Bernie's saying. Which one's right? Right, Bernie?
Yeah,
well, That could be explained as to where they're taking the measurement from.
I don't.
I'm not
I
gonna
don't
solve that
think-
tonight. I'm gonna ask Mary Beth, do you understand what we're asking? Why the two numbers
I do, but,
don't jive?
but Mark, you know, there are variables. Mark just brought up one of them.
Well, that's a supposition. I'd like to know what's the story. That's all.
Okay?
So, you get Mr. Swiniarski, if that's the one that does it,
Yep.
to take a look. I'd like to know.
You know, I'm thinking that after redevelopment, they might have taken it without the pump in type of thing. I don't know.
We don't know,
Yeah,
but let's
it's-
find
It's
out.
definitely not
I
the
would
same.
say it's, Occam's razor would suggest that it's the fact that the column labels were wrong.
Potentially. Again, it's humanly built, so we'll see. All right, we're gonna move on to staffing update, whole business number 4. And we've got 3 items there. The janitor position was filled. Frank Janvrin started September 26th. The administrative assistant completed the interviews, selected a candidate. HR's doing the query check and checking references. When do you expect to know?
I don't know. It's whatever, it's in town hall's hands. It's in,
I mean, does it usually take a week, 2 weeks?
the person, at a minimum, once we offer the person the job, number one, they have to accept it. They have to, both candidates had said they needed to give a 2-week notice. Then it has to, before the person starts, it's gotta go into, gotta be appointed by the selectmen. It could be another month.
Has an offer been made?
I don't make the offer. It comes from town hall.
I
I'm waiting
know.
to
I'm
hear
saying,
back from
have
Amy
they done
Light.
it?
No, to my knowledge, no.
No, so that's a, is it, no?
You have what I have.
So
That's
you
all
don't-
I know.
You don't know?
I do
Okay.
not.
That's all I wanted to know is, did they make an offer? And you haven't gotten that information?
This is, what you have there is the update that I have. That's
Okay.
all I have.
HR is doing the Corey background check references. So they make the offers?
The letter of offer comes from the personnel office,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And then vacant advertising, distribution working foreman, laborer 2, and WTP operator. Any hits on those, or?
No.
So you put them out, is it just that the market, are we off the market, any, you know?
We've been advertising, I'm actually waiting. The laborer 2's position just got approved last, I think about last selectmen's meeting. And I need to have the Word document, so I'm waiting for Amy to send over the Word document of the job posting that comes from personnel, so that I can put that on the webpage. They sent me over the PDF, but I need the Word document.
Okay,
So I sent an email requesting that last week.
okay. And the distribution working foreman and the water treatment plant. Now you are advertising in the Globe, Indeed, Monster, the Water Journal,
New England Waterworks
yeah?
is where you're gonna find most of your licensed operators.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to put it on Mass Municipal, but I can't, so I'm not quite sure, but I think Debbie offered to help out with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's another DPW type of, where you might find water-related positions, so.
Okay. Networking, word of mouth, any of that? I assume
All the time. Whenever I go to training seminars, I always try to steal people that worked for me before. But it's the same thing. You've got people that have seniority, they've been there for a long time, they're all ready to get in the next 5 to 6 years to retire, don't want to start anything new. Other things I've heard why, the employee contribution for insurance is too high. That has been a big issue. And again, there's proximity. So you're not going to get somebody to relocate to come to live within 1 hour of Rowley. You have to live response time by the DEP drinking water regs. We have to have a respond within 1 hour. So we're limited to people that live within 1 hour of response to Rowley. That's common in most places. Some places have a 20-minute response time, and most places I've worked, it's been 30-minute response time.
That's what it used to be.
So 1
when I
hour
worked
is
here, it was
pretty-
30-minute response time.
1 hour is concerning to me for response time, but that's what we have.
All right, we'll keep us posted.
Sure. Will do.
Staffing updates. Status update in the RFI for contract operations. So is this a draft you submitted in here?
Yes, this was tabled from last meeting.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing I didn't get through. My follow-up notes here. Yeah, that's the one I didn't finish. Did you gentlemen have a chance to review this?
I'm just gonna know.
Then I'm going to say we're going to table it until the next meeting. Everyone
So
has it?
can we just be
Mhm.
clear, can I just get clear as to,
Mhm.
I understand in general what we're exploring.
Mhm.
So where does this document fit into that? There may be changes or amendments to this document, but what are we trying to do?
Well, what we talked about a couple meetings ago was looking at the word outsourcing
Right.
operations.
Yeah.
Contract operations is the term. And Mary Beth has put together the technical material in here. Then it would go to the procurement officer in town to go out for an RFI, request for information, just to see what's out there. You know, is it viable, feasible? That's all this is it's not saying we're doing this, we're doing that. It's to go through the appropriate steps to do a request for information. Versus an RFP where you'd want to build it, buy it, whatnot. This is just an RFI to get the information out of the marketplace and to see what services are available and what they generally would cost.
Okay, so this is really this kind of generalized spec that's going out to
Mm-hmm.
potential service providers.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree, Mary Beth? With a
Yes.
general spec, I guess it's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of the items that are in here are requirements. Of course, DEP has requirements for everything. So some of the things that are in here are, if you are going to consider contract operations, these are DEP requirements for a minimum of consideration.
Mhm.
And just on the front page, whenever you're going out for something like this, the potential person who's going to be giving us the request for the information is going to want to know what they're actually dealing with. So that's why some of that information about the water treatment plant and just basically, somebody looking at this will understand what it is with the chemical addition. Well number 2, they need to know how many gate valves there are in the system that they'll be responsible for, and how many fire hydrants, and how many miles of water main. Those are things that a potential person looking at this is going to take into consideration. Number 1, it's staffing. Even though we have the minimum requirement, we will have a minimum requirement that they will have to staff, which at a minimum, it will be 2 treatment and 2 distribution at a minimum. And then some of the little more details of what's required by the Mass DEP for our conditions to operate. We have a permit to operate, conditions set forth on the department. And so that contract, if the board decides to go that route, will have to comply with all of that. And if there is anything else, like for example, normally with contract operations, there is no local office. So if the board wants a staffed office, that's something else you would have to consider. Are you going to keep on an administrative assistant, administrative support to keep the office open? If you want to roll that into the RFI for the contract, that the contractor will have to supply an administrative office person for walk-ins and, because normally that kind of stuff goes away. And normally, Karen Summit, I'm sorry, but the treasurer's office usually handles, because they handle payments for all of the town stuff, they would assume that responsibility. Sorry, Karen. But that's just a consideration, how do you're going to want to
They wouldn't
look
be
at those.
handling servicing, they'd be just collecting checks, just they do for any other department that somebody has to make a payment. except for the electric department, I know, but if you had to pay your taxes, you go in and you pay your taxes. I mean,
But if you, but, well, right, but what happens is that we have people that come to the office that, it's, nothing to do with a payment or processing a payment. So for example, we have permit sign-offs. The treasurer's office has already said that that would be a disruption to their day-to-day. These are just things that the board needs to be aware of. How do you want to handle those things?
so what I would do, with the approach I've taken with other RFIs I've done, is that once it's approved by the town, is then set up, anybody that wants to have a conference call, is that we'd have a conference call, and we can either, I think we have to do it all at the same time, but you do it with vendors. It's open and above board, and you have a call. We'll schedule the call at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, blah, 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 blah. It's Q&A for the RFI. And if they ask those kind of questions, my response back would be, I'd like to see a proposal from you. We've given you the basics, you've got the RFI, and then I would like to see meeting this, and then your proposals for options A, B, and C. You know, and they can, this moderate, that's what they do. They can say, you have a mix, you have some, you have little, you have all of it. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't really care. That's what these guys do. That's what I'm asking them. And all really good questions, Mary Beth. But those guys have to ask them, and then lay out proposals.
Right.
So,
But normally,
Mhm.
and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, John, when you're putting out an RFQ or an RFP or even an RFI, you have to tell the people what you're looking for. So if we are generic, they're not gonna be able to come back.
I'll add a paragraph.
Okay,
I'll add a paragraph of, a summary in the beginning that lays out what I'd like to see from them. You know, basic, to meet the basic requirements and guidelines that are here, and then secondarily and tertiary, these types of services, and from bare bones to Cadillac, I guess, and don't take it the wrong way, but
no,
again, but I'll write up a paragraph like that, unless anybody else wants to take a shot at that.
No, I
That's
just
your
think,
expertise.
I just think we should just, as long as they're providing similar services already, then that's fine. That's the kind of primary qualification in Massachusetts.
So I'll write it, and then, I don't know, can I send it to you to send to them for input?
what I would
mean,
do,
we can't communicate directly.
oh, I see what you, yeah, yes,
So I'll put it together, send it to Mary Beth, she'll send it to you guys, send it back to her, and then I'll work on it so that we'll have this for the next meeting.
yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, that won't take long. Some boilerplate in my head to just put into this, so.
So yes, if the board could be thinking about, think about, what is it that you're gonna want? Do you wanna have the office open, What's gonna be the communications between the contract operator and the water board, because that would be a different way of operating things. You just have to, just be thinking about, how you wanna go about doing that.
And I've done some research out in the wild
Uh-huh.
with some firms and such, and those are the way I've described it is that's some of the things that they would come back with. Models, I guess, models of operation. So here's what we are, here's Raleigh, and there's a model where it's bare bones, we still have everything here. There's one in between where we still have an office, it might be managed part-time, or there's one where it's completely handled by them. So those are the various models that exist, is what you're describing.
Absolutely.
And I'll say right now, I have no predisposition to either of them.
Well, it's
to me,
cost
it's-
too. I think you'd be
And-
surprised.
Competition is beautiful. If people want this business, it's there's a lot of competition out there for this, and so we'll see. That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
Guys on board?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll get that to you, Mary Beth, and we'll share it. We'll get it rocking and rolling.
Okay.
Nice job. That's a lot of work putting that together. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Update on water department projects. Number 6.
Again, I asked Tater and Howard to put together a little one paragraph on each of the projects. because they're all at various stages. I can point out a couple. The Prospect Hill tank, we're having the bid opening for that tomorrow. We have received one bid so far. Paving of 401 Central Street, that went out to bid twice, and we have no bids. And right now, Tater and Howard is contacting the list of, we had a list of bidders, and contacting them to find out why. So it wasn't as bad as we thought. One company said, I just didn't get to it. And there were just some other ones. We thought maybe the stormwater was a issue. We did have a couple of site guys that, site guys do stormwater stuff, they call them, but they did not want to deal with having to hire a paving company. They didn't want to be like the subcontractor. So, what we thought we would do is, to go through the process of checking these things out, we're looking at rebidding it again in January. That would still keep us on schedule. We'll then know for sure whether we get the money at town meeting. So I think at this point, things happen for a reason, I believe. We should see what happens at town meeting. If we're awarded that additional money for complying with the stormwater regulations.
Well, it's not raising and appropriating, it is taking from our fund, our stabilization
Correct,
fund.
correct.
So it's just, the vote is authorizing us to use the money that we have. We've already
Correct,
raised.
and we'll talk about that in a little more detail later on.
Yeah.
So, and then if that happens, then we will be still on target, we'll be redoing the bid specs and getting things out with the bid opening in January for the same construction schedule of a April-May project.
Good. And it won't matter that the fence is up by then?
We are actually made some modifications to this existing so that we don't have to do things twice. So what happens is that when they're putting in the ground wires and the loops and things, if we are actually going to be having to come down and regrade this parking lot to fix the drainage, so we're gonna be going down maybe 3 or 4 inches and grading it away that way. If we're gonna be grading, then everything underneath will be destroyed. So we're not gonna put anything in, because of the grading. We're gonna do it after. Where what they do is they take a special saw and they just cut the pavement and they drop the line in. It's not, and then it's fine. There's no other way to do it, is to put it in. Other than that, you're gonna have to dig it up again.
Why, then why don't we just put that on hold and do it at the same? and-
We cannot. This is SRF funding and it has to get done. We're on a deadline. You can't put this project
So we
on
shot
hold.
ourselves in the head. We're gonna have to go cut the pavement, the brand new
It's
pavement
not like
that
what
we
you
put in.
think.
You cannot convince me. I would go ballistic if they paved my street and then cut it up.
It's not really cutting it up. You won't even know it's there.
So you just described that they're going to cut the pavement.
Maybe that's not the correct word. Do you understand what I'm saying, Mark? Do you know? They're gonna, I don't know how else to say it, cut the pavement. They're gonna just,
So we're gonna have blacktop out there.
yeah.
How are they gonna what wires need to go underneath?
The wires to run the
The gates, I assume.
the gates and the controllers.
Mm-hmm. Why aren't those put into conduit and sink them down 6 inches now?
All right, so the conduit, without giving out how the security system operates, perhaps we could talk about this at another time,
Mm-hmm.
what's actually not going in versus what's going in. The conduit to operate is going in, but I would rather not really talk about the security system, and it's kind of a key component, so.
Well, I don't think Al Qaeda is watching our meetings.
Well-
But, so I respect that, but still, if there is a cable of any type, has to go from point A to point B, why would it not be put into I assume it's gonna be put into a conduit.
Yes,
Okay.
from it's gonna be run from the control pad over to the building.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna go in.
Okay. And you said they'd have to cut the pavement to put the wires
It's to
in?
put the loop.
Okay, so again, I'd go back, you know, if it's 3 or 4 inches, make it 6 to 10 inches and sink the conduit deeper. Have whoever the engineers are doing this, sink that conduit. I do not want that pavement cut after it's put in, period. I don't know if you guys feel that strongly, but, you know, go back and ask these people. Seriously, you know, that's unacceptable. And I mean, I put security systems in buildings, and yes, there's some proprietary things that have to be done, and panels, and you know, it's some of it's power over Ethernet, such, but it's all, you know, I put security systems into some very challenging waffle ceilings in a couple of buildings that are just miserable to deal with. There's a way around this. That's what I want, let's talk to them and find out how we get around having to cut it once we have it paved. So, let's get it put in first.
I'll be on that
Right, I
tomorrow.
mean, that
Okay.
seems to beg the question of how you maintain it anyway, right? I mean, if something happens to the wiring, do you have to cut the ground in order to repair it?
No,
Or is there a way to?
If it's a conduit, you tie a string on
So
the end of
then-
the cable and you pull it through.
Right, so
and you
that
screw
argues
cable.
for putting the conduit deep, because that way at least then you're handling the,
Well, it can't go too deep because the signal won't transfer. You can't put it has to go at a certain minimum below
Is it
grade.
wireless?
Part of it is, but it's not, if you put this magnetic strip too low,
Mm-hmm.
it will not pick up the signal of the vehicle.
So, there's a magnetic reader as part of the technology? Then then we have to use a different technology. I'm not supporting cutting the pavement. So is this one strip across the entrance? Is that what we're talking about?
Of all the gates. Here and at the treatment plant.
You know, I've seen that where they embed a code reader down into the pavement, but
I think we really need to see the plans and see what we're talking about, because
Yeah.
I think she's talking about things that we're not knowing exactly.
well, with what you just said, now I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I'd like to see the plans of it. Can we have do we have to have a meeting with Tate and Howard? Is there a set of plans we can look
This
at
isn't
that?
with Tater and Howard, this is the SRF funds.
Yeah.
Everything's been ordered. The
Mhm.
project is at 50% complete, so I don't know what can be changed because things have been ordered.
I'll stop it. I want information. I don't want to go any further till we have the information. I don't care if we lose the money. It's just that will look Mickey Mouse to put paving in and then cut it a month after we paved, you know? So I just want to understand it.
So you want to look at the plans?
I want to see the plan,
Okay.
the engineering plan. And if we have to have who was the engineers that are doing this?
This is Weston and Sampson
Weston and
Johnson.
Sampson.
Weston
Okay.
Johnson Core.
Yep.
So
And
would
maybe
you,
just have a call with John, and maybe
Okay.
you're telling me everything exact and I don't get it, but,
Right.
forward it, and then with John's number, and if when I read the spec, I don't understand it, I'll just call him directly.
okay, you didn't want to have, does anybody else want copies of the spec?
I'd like to see what's going on, yeah.
Mhm.
I can
Because the
understand what
spec
we're
is this
talking about.
thick. Do you want?
I'm
me
sure
to-
there's a summary page on it and some design documents.
I'll look.
Haven't sent it to me electronically, I don't want to kill a tree.
I may have it. I may have it electronically.
That's okay. So let's push this off, or just get that information. I want to make some
Mhm.
calls, and let's put it on the agenda for next meeting. Okay?
yeah, I mean, essentially we want a workaround, right?
I just want to understand what's going on. I don't
Right.
want to be standing there saying to everybody, oh geez, we spent $60,000-$70,000 and, we're taking a saw and cutting it up again.
But okay, you guys,
We just don't have the data, that's all, I just need more, and maybe we should have
Maybe
asked
we
more
can
questions later.
Understand what's going on more by seeing the plans.
Mhm.
and-
right, but if the wiring goes in, so the issue is when the grading, so if the issue is the grading, which is going to disturb whatever's buried, don't bury it until you finish grading. Put it in some kind of temporary shield above, hardened above ground
Mhm.
conduit, and then disconnect it and reconnect it again after you do the grading. I mean, it doesn't seem to me to be a
Yeah, so that's what,
particularly tough issue.
let's take a look, see what's going on. So we've kind of sidetracked that rest of the report, Mary Beth. Anything else on here that we want to, Flushing, have we put Flushing on hold because of the,
Yes,
Go.
we are not flushing, and we are not fire flow testing.
Newburyport is, I noticed.
Flushing?
They're
That's
not,
surprising.
they've actually reduced what they're flushing.
Oh,
They're doing certain dead ends,
okay.
and they're not doing the full directional flushing, if you read the whole article.
Oh, all right. I didn't.
The Prospect Hill tank improvements, is that the coating?
First page,
4810,
Page 2.
page 2?
page 2. Yes, that's the tank coatings.
Okay. Did we get quotes on that already?
We're having,
Bids.
that's tomorrow, the bid opening for that's tomorrow.
Okay,
That we had to go out to bid.
right. And then the road, Prospect Hill Road stormwater improvements, is that the road improvement? Page 1?
Yeah, that's what they're doing now.
That's underway right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The dehumidification, where are we with that? Second one? Confirm available locations, electrical panels. So this listening bids is ongoing, but they haven't finished the draft documents, design?
They're at 75% design.
Okay. And so are they gonna put this out to bid, or we need to vote to put it out to bid?
You already voted on this. It's gonna go out to bid.
Okay, yeah, I know that's what I thought, we'd already done that.
Yes.
So they're just finishing up the work, so when will they be putting that out to bid? By the end of the year? They give it to us in October, we review it?
I'll have to, I don't know.
Okay.
Right.
It's all right. Anything else on here we need to look at?
Nope,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
And November 14th, special town meeting warrant items, old business number 7. Which I actually have something in here. Okay, so the three items is $27,000 for the stormwater compliance, $225,000 for DEP compliance from the sanitary survey, and water use restriction bylaw. We talked about that earlier. The stormwater is additional work that was identified by the Concom to make the parking lot appropriate. We have to do that, and then the DEP compliance, we went over the last meeting, all the items that make that up, redeveloping the well, et cetera, bunch of things there, so. For special town meeting, it would be good to share some of the limelight
I'd be more than
with the
happy to.
board. Good, you can do one or all.
We'll just each take one.
Yeah, that's fine.
It works for me.
Any preference, gentlemen, on which one for which? Or do we just decide them?
Sorry, what are the three?
There's stormwater compliance, the DEP compliance, and the water use restriction bylaw. So I think I'll take the
I was gonna say,
bylaw.
why don't you take the bylaw, because you've been working on it.
Yeah,
I'll take either one of the other ones. I don't
okay.
care.
Why don't you do the DEP compliance, because you've got
Works
a
for me.
broader thing, and then Brandon will give you a singular attack.
The stormwater.
You okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That way I offend the least number of people.
So what I can do is, for each of you, I'll pull together a little cheat sheet,
Talking points?
Works good for
talking
me.
points, cheat sheet, whatever,
Yes. That would be
so
nice.
that you can, you know, go over it, and then if you have any questions, certainly please feel free to come and see me to go over any potential questions you might think will come up
Mhm.
on these.
Well, there'll be plenty. So, although, versus having 11 at town meeting in the spring, I'll be glad to not have to be up there for a lion's share of it. So, all right, good.
We didn't get the wording, right? Or did we?
For which one?
Mary Beth, for
I
the,
think a couple of meetings back. The actual verbiage for the articles.
No, town administrator is working on those.
okay.
We had drafts that they put it into
Right, no, I
legalese
just,
or town meeting east.
You will have that before, way before that, you will have what you'll read when you read the actual article. You'll have the exact article to read. I'll make sure you have that well in advance.
Yeah, no, we usually do.
so can we order them in kind of increasing levels of
It depends on,
being problematic?
it depends on how they put them in town meeting.
Oh, all right. We
So-
don't get a choice?
No.
So however they
You know.
do the warrant.
I know Debbie, she likes coffee from Starbucks and, just kidding, Deb, if you watch this. Yeah, it's
All
not
right.
gonna draw, so.
They will be, I'm sure they'll be all together, 3 in a row. but-
Yeah, they'll batch us together, but which one's first?
All right,
The finance committee has a lot to do.
all right.
Again, just joking. Any other questions, Brady?
No.
Okay. All right, new business. And this is, do I have this one in here? Yeah, there's been a request from the Personnel Department. The Personnel Board requests that you, Mary Beth, and a Water Board member attend the next Personnel Board meeting to discuss the outstanding Water Department job descriptions. Next meeting has been scheduled for Tuesday, October 18th at 2 o'clock in the Selectman's office. Can you please confirm which Water Board member was appointed at your September meeting? We didn't do that. And confirm your attendance at said meeting for October 18th, which I believe is next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Next Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah. That represents a significant issue for me. I don't know if either of you two gentlemen can make it.
I can do it, and I'm familiar with job descriptions.
I'll make a motion.
If he's willing to do it, I'll make the motion to have him do it.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Bernie. Much appreciated.
I will respond on behalf of both Bernie and I to
Thanks.
Amy.
New business number 2, abatement request, 111 Leslie Road. And I will read this in. To whom it may concern, the purpose of the email is to relay the situation discovered at my home, 111 Leslie Road, and to request hopefully some relief in regard to the financial impact relative to recent water usage. This is dated August 29th. On Sunday, October 21st, my wife and I returned from Rhode Island after spending an entire day bringing their child to college. Upon their return, I noticed the water pressure in our house was very low. I immediately contacted the police department, subsequently began to determine if I could locate the problem. I did. A major valve connected to a sprinkler system had ruptured. I immediately turned off the main shutoff. Due to the water shortage, the system had been previously turned off, but unfortunately not via the shutoff valve, only through the timer. The result was thousands of gallons of water being dispensed accidentally. Based on the data logger read, which I requested the day after on 8/22, 11,707 gallons were lost. I suspect this incident is only the beginning or ending, depending on how you look at it. That is, based upon the last two water meter readings for the periods 525 to 629, 629, 727, we used 22,000 gallons and 16,000 gallons respectively. We do have a pool, however, based on the comparisons to 2015, the 2016 use increased 8,000 gallons and 10,000 gallons for the same period in 2015 as that in 2016. I suspect the valve was leaking underground and finally burst on August 21st. So that's my tale of woe, and as previously indicated above, I look to all of you, the Board of Selectmen, Town Administrator, Water Board, for any financial relief that you can render. My cell phone number is blah, blah, blah. I apologize for the length of the email and do await your response respectfully, and I won't name the person. Oh, so looking at this is the data logger, look at that. Okay. Repaired broken fitting in main line backflow preventer. Any way to see it, to determine if it was leaking, Mary Beth? Based on the trend that we see here?
If it had been leaking right along, no.
Okay, what about a steady
Yeah.
state?
If it was something, yeah, if you have a, that's what's so, hard about leaks, is that if something is leaking and you're not aware of it, and you get your bill, and it's been like that for 2 or 3 years, but something's on its way out, and then you have a burst.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know exactly, that's kind of sort of speculation that it was leaking, because those sprinkler heads,
Mm-hmm.
they just go. They don't drizzle or drip, I mean, it let go. We saw this in another customer that had irrigation that the sprinkler had let go and was going off in the middle of the night. When the system was going off, the sprinkler head was just having a field day, and it wasn't, but then you see it in the usage.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'll just advise the board, according to our current abatement policy, this does not qualify for an abatement.
And if you could refresh my...
I have a copy of right here if you'd like to read it.
Sure, thank you.
I always keep a copy of that in my notebook.
Mine's in the car.
They're looking for $204.43. That would be the abatement.
And the reason it doesn't meet is the dollar amount, or?
The amount of gallons,
I believe it's 40,000 gallons,
Yes.
if I remember right.
And this is what, 11,000 gallons?
yes.
So even if you add in the previous 2 months of another 18,000 gallons, it's still below the 40,000.
Yeah, I mean, the abatement policy is for catastrophic situations. And while this is a lot, it isn't even up in the range of catastrophic to the homeowner, absolutely. But as we measure across the board, it just doesn't, I hate to say the word, it's not catastrophic enough, but it doesn't
Right, but
meet
the-
the qualifications.
Doesn't meet the
Right.
criteria.
Alright.
The
Not
other
even
thing
close.
is that
Mhm.
on the bill it's there, 8/29/2014. That month, they used 15,000 gallons that month. So, I mean, obviously the thing let go, but it's not clear to me that the preceding 2 months, it was a leak as opposed to just more heavy usage, because the data doesn't,
Oh,
it goes up and down a lot.
Yeah, but if you look at their,
Well, no, it's not, it's clear that that's the leak. I'm not disputing that. But if you
Oh,
look
that it's
at-
been consistently leaking,
but
potentially.
their argument is that they lost 8,000 gallons the previous month. It was up 8,000 gallons the previous month, and then 10,000 gallons the month before, and then the month immediately prior, and then this month. So it doesn't seem to me, I think it's 11,000 gallons, it's unfortunate, but that's $250, right? About.
So-
I'd say that we offer them a payment plan if they're having trouble, but that's the best we can do.
Okay.
Actually, this customer, excuse me, this customer is paid in full, so they've been paying the water bill, so it would be, we would have to issue them a credit if you had abated it, but if there's no, they're already paid. They've been paying this right along.
And while, we're empathetic, it just doesn't meet the criteria that we've established, and we try to enforce consistently with everyone, so.
If it's close, yeah, but
But this isn't
It's even close.
Yeah,
unfortunately for them,
so. Need a motion to deny?
make a motion.
Seconded?
All in favor to deny?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. New business number 3. So, I have just some commentary here. Kind of did some thinking about this and looking at it. And I think that we're going to have a very challenging budget situation with the water usage going down by the conservation and just people trying not to manage their bills appropriately. And I don't want to say that these are discretionary, but if, in a time of belt tightening, I'd like to push them off another year. I think we could do that. And part of it is a direct impact to the people of the department, which I think it's not nice, but I think we can squeeze out another year. And the same thing with the roofing. So the HVAC for 401 Central of 18,000 and the roofing for 40,000. For the HVAC, I understand, but I'll be willing to talk over the air conditioner. If we need to get a bigger air conditioner, maybe do that, or a quieter one, a newer one that's pretty old. I mean, I'd want to do something like that. To just, that's what, $58,000. That equals the amount of the, it's half the stormwater drainage.
What's 58,000?
If you add the two numbers, the 18,000 and the 40,000. Sorry, I did
I thought you were
math.
talking like
No, 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 no.
HVAC. I'm
What
like,
the hell's he talking about? No, I added the numbers in my head.
okay.
It's total 58,000. And I just wanted to, tell people too that we're just not, just because the money's sitting there, we're trying to spend it as judiciously as possible. And if we could possibly put these things off, I'd like to. And again, it's on the backs of the employees for the HVAC. It's chilly in here, and then it's also, hot in the summer, but it is. I think we can get by another year. We just dumped some money into the heating system because it failed. Or was that the water heater? No, it was the heater.
You're talking about two separate parts of the building.
Yeah,
We fixed the heating system out back. It's
Yep.
up front that has the problem.
I know.
I honestly would like to see us do the HVAC.
Then what would you want to pull off?
I don't have a problem putting off the roof. Do we have to do the new supply source investigation?
You don't have to put, this is my proposal
Mhm.
to the board. If you want to put these off, you just tell me. I revise this, look at it again next meeting.
But you also the person with all the letters after your name regarding running the water department.
Mhm.
Well,
So-
considering what we've gone through, I thought it would be a good idea for us to start thinking about other sources of supply.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree.
We need additional source, and it's few and far between. We already have a couple of sites just to look at it. But if the board wants to put that off, that's fine.
But why 100,000? Is that based on past?
That's just to have
investigations?
some engineering, to start taking a look at, we have land for, I've heard, a well 4. We have existing well number 1. I know we have some reports, but things have changed since that. And there are some other areas in town that were looked at, but never went any further.
So I would want to say, let's see what we can get for 50,000. We don't have to do all of those properties, but let's cut that in half.
You want me to take a look at one might be the most promising?
The most
Kinda?
promising 1 or 2 that we can get for 50,000.
Okay,
Just to
Okay.
start the ball rolling.
Yeah.
okay.
We agree?
It's a long procedure. I
Oh,
went
it's
through it.
years. That's
I've
what
been
it
through
is.
it with Station 5 when I was working here.
I talked with
Years.
Aldine when she was a active town meeting member about that, and she was very vocal about, what was the last well that went in? 5?
5 and the 2
5.
straws.
Yes, she was very colorful in her
And
descriptions.
she's actually the one that shot down well 4 too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
Where's
remember
well,
that one.
where's well 4?
It's off of Trowbridge Circle.
whereabouts?
The end of Long Meadow
Yeah,
and Trowbridge, it's section, there used to be a road off to the right as you get
yeah.
into.
I lived there for a while.
Yeah, I know. But if you, there's a Woods Road
Yeah,
that was there when I worked for it. I haven't been out looking for it for years, but
yeah, it's all over.
Did- That's what I'm sure it is. But out through there going towards the country club,
Okay.
there's some property there that used to be owned by a water commissioner.
Okay. All right.
And it was very promising, so I was told. They had gone beyond that and into looking for Station 5 when I started working here.
I would say well number 4, that site that Mark's describing. And then what's the one that was abandoned properties, 8 acres? Was that well number 1? So let's see if what we can do of looking at those 2. And let's say just budget
Well,
50,000.
that is the only 2 sites that we were gonna do. That's the 2 sites that I was gonna start with anyway,
Okay,
because they're known sites.
okay.
I just think that we have our employees working here every day.
Mhm.
We should make it so it's reasonable.
Yeah,
And I've been in here many times where it's not reasonable working conditions.
yeah, and so we'll leave so going down, the HVAC, that's fine. The rate study, I can't believe it's been 3 years, wow. Vehicle replacement, that makes sense, that's a 14-year-old truck, that's just gonna cost money. The roofs, let's just push it off a year. And if we do the roofs, I wanna see some inspections, to bring it back up, I wanna see inspection reports from a roofer to say these are the shingles that you have on there, this is what it looks like, do you have 1, 2, 3 courses on there? Just basic questions, I'd wanna see.
So say that again, how many courses are up there now?
Yeah.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
you know.
I assume here there's just one because the roof was put on brand new,
Okay.
trusses and everything.
Yep, okay.
what was the other question, John? I'm sorry.
The age of the roof, how many courses, and what's their evaluation of what it looks like?
There's so many variables because you don't know whether they put on 15-year shingles, 25-year shingles,
these guys can-
35-year-old shingles.
These guys can look at it and tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And if you need some roofers, I just had my house roofed. I went and got half a dozen quotes, et cetera. I can get some of those guys to do it, but I'll leave it to you, whoever you're working with, vendors, to just say that's what we want.
Yeah, we have, that's where I got those numbers from. I have 3 different contractors I was getting, commercial contractors.
So I want some information before.
Okay.
um,
So is this for another consideration? So
We're not going to do the 40,000 to do the roof.
I'm taking that
budget.
off, but when it does come up, these are the things that you would like.
Yes.
You got it, okay.
Exactly.
I got it.
Yep. And new source of supply, I think we want to cut that in half and just, if it's 1, then it's 1. If we can get 2 out of that 50, but I think we need to, again, tighten our belts. I think it's going to be a rough ride in the next year. And the reason being, is I cited earlier, and additionally, I really want to make sure, and Mary Beth, you've been integral in this, is that we don't raise the rates. I wanted to have at least 3 years where we do not raise the rates. I think that's reasonable. Just if anybody takes a walk through the building, they can see the organization that you put back there and the efficiencies that are there, and then putting the contracts in to get the pipes for fixed quotes, all those kind of things. And I think at some point you can only you can only make it as efficient as possible. You probably got a little more runway, and that's why I'm trying to buckle down here until we really see, do we have a snowy winter? Do we have another dry year? We're going to be in trouble. So, anyways, I'm on the soapbox. So,
If you wanted to cut, instead of doing cleaning of both well 3 and well field 5, you could do, one, it's up to you, do one
which
this
one
year.
needs to be done first?
Well, those are the ones that have the manganese issues.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I know from the time I worked here, like Station 3 was done 2 to 3 times in the 4.5 years I was here. It's something that happens. It's
this is
very
not,
maintenance heavy on that. I don't have experience on well 5, so I don't know, but it's the same area, so I have to assume it's the same issues.
cleaning your wells, when you are operating and you put your wells through this maintenance program, number one, sometimes you can increase your capacity. It doesn't make any sense to have all this pump equipment in there if you can't get from the well, just because, as Mark said, the screens are clogged with manganese. You're not going to draw what it was designed and intended to get. So that's why you put these through a cleaning cycle.
And Station 2 is on the special town meeting to be done.
Yeah. So, if we can, whichever one you think is worse, cut that in half and do well 3 next year and well 5 the next
I was
year.
only offering that because you're trying to cut. From my standpoint, I would like to see them both done. Operationally, water quality and quantity wise, I would like to see them both done.
Okay. Yeah, it's I don't want to say it's public health, but it's the proper operation of the department is to keep those wells in good shape. So I'd rather not cut that. And that's why the source of investigation, I'd rather cut that in half.
If you want to put the source of investigation off for another year,
Nope, I think
that I
we
would
just
rather do than the cleaning part.
leave the cleaning alone. So we'll cut the roofing out.
Okay.
And then just cut the supply investigation by half. If we just do one, then it's one. It's still a positive step. And that's what, 100, that's 90,000 out of this.
So how far along did they get on well 4? Is that just
No.
a
It's a town meeting vote, and then they voted it down.
yeah, it was just.
So there was no investigation?
Yeah, they had it all ready to go.
Yeah.
And then-
Monitoring wells were out there.
Yeah,
So
they
then-
had it
so
all
then-
explored, then when it came to the final vote at town meeting, it was voted down.
Right.
That was
but
a
the
long
ge-
time ago.
But would the hydrology change that significantly in the intervening time
Don't know.
period?
I don't
That's
know
what we
anything
have to
about it.
investigate.
It's like you'd be using stale data.
Mhm.
DEP would say, next.
I'm
It's-
sure you'd
it's
have
so
to start
old-brained,
right
I
at
can
ground
barely remember.
You have to
zero.
start from scratch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a
Yeah.
site.
Doing-
We have a site to go look at,
Mhm.
but then you've got to do a redo on all the documentation for the
Alright.
government.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I know it'd be nice to be able to pull it out and dust it off, but it just wouldn't fly. Unfortunately,
The other thing
Rules have
too,
changed since then.
But then it was viable.
Right.
I don't want to, we don't want to do essentially drill a dry hole. So presumably we've got,
I believe they had done all the pump tests and everything else, and they're at the point where,
all right.
but I'm not 100% sure, it was a long time ago.
that was like
So
15, 20?
That seems
I
like
wouldn't say it was
negotiating,
in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
that seems like negotiating leverage to get this done as,
So let's look at number 4 first.
okay.
If there's any extra time or money, look at that well 1.
But, okay, so, when I was talking about, investigating new source of supply, doesn't necessarily mean, a well. It was also to look at perhaps another storage tank, perhaps an interconnection kind of thing, other alternative means so there's many ways to come up with an additional source because, as Mark said, from start to finish of investigating and permitting a well, you could be looking at 5 years, 6 years out. So that's
Maybe-
why the time to start looking at things.
Mhm.
Maybe desalinization. We can get a grant from Obama to have
Oh.
a solar-powered desalinization plant.
I think the, looking for.
We don't have
Sorry.
enough, we don't have enough customers to put a desalination
Well,
plant.
no, the
in.
government, the feds will,
We
you
don't
know,
have
the
enough
feds will do it,
customers.
you know?
I think
Anyway,
looking at
fresh.
another tank of some type
Yeah.
is probably one of our higher priorities.
For, it's more so because it's to meet the fire flows,
If
that's the hard
something
part.
happens in the area of that tank,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the rest of the town is out of luck.
yeah.
So if we had another tank in another area, and plus it'll, if you get one that probably double the supply of reserve, you can go through 1 million gallons fighting a major fire in
Mhm.
no time.
Yeah, you know, we've seen a leak lose 1 million gallons.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so anyways, keep it at 50, looking forward, and then whatever other investigations you can get done for the 50. And what I said to the 90 is, if you take the 40 for the 40 for the roof, and the 50 for, 50 out of the new supply investigation, that's 90.
So that's 322 minus the 90.
Yeah. You
Okay.
know, and, you know, and if things were horrendous, I mean, we'd have to, you know, the truck would go. But again, like I said, it's overdue. It's 14 years old. Anybody that's got a 14-year-old car knows what it's like to keep those running. So I mean, that's just cost efficient. So I'd leave that in for now.
We have another truck that's even older than that. But it's gonna be an expensive replace.
Yeah.
You talking about the crane truck? We're not replacing the crane truck. It's, what we're gonna do when we go to replace that is we're getting an F-150 with the lift gate. That's all we need. We do not need the crane truck. That crane alone requires extra licensing to operate. You have to be a crane operator. You have to have it certified. It costs buku bucks. I don't know why they have it. A lift gate would have been perfectly fine for the 55-gallon barrels. It's to deliver chlorine and phosphate to well number 2. So I already came up with the cost-saving measures to replace it. Plus, it's a gas guzzler,
Yeah.
and you just signed a purchase order for me to go ahead and fix it. Otherwise, it's going to have to sit. And
That's
plus,
something-
it's a vehicle that can be used more readily. So on the day-to-day, rather than driving a utility truck around, you know, the full-body truck, just driving a regular pickup truck, when you don't need a bucket of tools, you know, all your tools and supplies, it would be much better.
Yeah. Jumping back to the wells, one of the things on the well number 5 rehab, there was a budgetary estimate. It was from last meeting, but it was something I made a note of. And we had talked earlier about the projects. In here, Tater and Howard says that all 6 wells will have to be shut down to complete the cleaning and rehab work. My assumption is that those will be rotated, it'll be like one this week, one the next week.
Correct.
They're not all 6 at the same time.
And it would be, it's a time constraint. It would be done like November, December.
Okay.
Yeah.
That answers my question. So anyways, Mary Beth, that gives you the instructions with the budget?
Yes.
Okay. And this is what, October, next month, we'll start in the budget meetings or working on the budget?
Yes, I'll have your budget books.
And so we went all through those. Plot a copy of shared expense of the Planning Board of Health and Concom. That wasn't on this list.
Oh, that, I threw that on there. I had some brief discussions over the last couple of years with planning, conservation. We have no way to, with blueprints and plans, 11, the big full size. And so we thought maybe if it was a shared cost, I don't know if Kirk or Brent has, I'm not sure if they've talked with their board yet, but this was just some preliminary discussions that if we purchased it with the 3 departments, that it would be less of an impact, but we certainly could use the plotter printer. We preliminary agreed that the best place to keep it would be over at the annex with the planner, and then it would be, you know,
Available if you need it.
available if we need it to go over there. You know, joint costs on the paper and the ink and maintenance contracts and whatnot. But that was just some preliminary, and that doesn't have to go in a capital. That can go right into the operating budget.
Okay. The numbers in the minutes the agenda don't agree with the numbers in the packet.
I apologize, I would say that this is accurate.
Okay,
I believe I
so.
did a cut and paste from the last agenda, so,
Okay. So the Ford Ranger is on the agenda is 35,
yep.
and here it's 40?
Because I forgot to include the radio and the lights.
Okay, and then cleaning of well number 3 and 5, you've got 150,000 in the agenda, and then 100,000 here.
That was my guesstimate on the agenda, and what's on your capital is from the engineer's estimates.
Okay, excellent, good. The rest of the numbers are all good. And then, okay, good, thank you. Gotta remember, accountants at heart. And item number 4, draft memo to the Board of Selectmen regarding attendance at water meetings. The note here, Mary Beth has put forth to us, the Board of Water Commissioners would like to respectfully request that if the Board of Selectmen are going to discuss water department issues, concerns, or have any questions regarding an agenda item that relates to the water department, that you invite the water superintendent to said meeting to be available to answer any questions or provide any information. We ask this in order to be more efficient in how we do business. We'd like to see things resolved in one meeting if possible, instead of several. I would only just say, Mary Beth, to say the water superintendent or a commissioner in your stead.
Yep.
Okay?
That was my first stab at it. I mean, you would ask me to draft something up, is that okay?
Yeah,
That-
and just say the water superintendent or a commissioner,
Got it.
and/or a commissioner in your stead.
And, or.
Yeah, I don't think the last two sentences are needed.
Yeah, they're editorial.
You want me to take the last two sentences out?
Starting with we ask.
Okay.
Frankly, they don't care.
Okay,
I mean, it's a well-written communication, but they're just getting it into memo speak more than anything.
it's done. Take it out.
We need to make a motion.
Yep.
Motion to send the amended note to the Board of Selectmen requesting the presence of somebody from the Water Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just so you know, I'm gonna add that in my memo, in the memo that the Board of Water Commissioners voted,
Mhm.
so that they know
Yeah.
this is,
You
okay.
you didn't go rogue.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's been a long week already. Tuesday.
And you had yesterday off, right?
No, well, I worked. So, general business, water superintendent evaluation goals, setting and objectives continued. I have,
sorry, thanks for pointing that out, I was just, there we go.
I have chicken scratching on here. I wish I wrote a little neater.
So I provided you with my job description,
Yep,
a blank evaluation form, a list of my accomplishments, the annual, the existing annual employee performance evaluation,
mhm,
my goals revised,
mhm.
and that's what you have.
I'm getting here. Yeah, and really, and we talked about last week, you know, since this was they're redoing things and whatnot and so on and so forth, all I really want to do for the fall now is to just get some goals and objectives set out there. And then come, you know, June, I'll say, I'm making that up, June, sometime in the future, when we have some time, we'll go over it, and then we'll just say, you know, we'll use whatever the personnel board has drafted. We'll use whatever the appropriate document is. I'm not gonna do it now,
Okay,
because it's in
so I've revised the goals. Is the board all set with these goals?
Nope, I got a couple of, we were to review them and come back with some stuff.
I'm sorry, John?
We were to review them and come back with some stuff.
Okay,
I get some, like I said, I can't read my chicken scratching, so I've gotta go slow here. I'm gonna add it into the doc. Do you guys have anything that you wanted to change or update?
In terms of the goals, I mean,
Goals or objectives?
right, I mean, my sense is we need to have goals which are associated with the kind of employee satisfaction and customer satisfaction and stakeholder satisfaction. So all all three of those areas need to be, in a certain sense, kind of put out as focuses for Mary Beth's role. I mean, we would like satisfied customers. How that goal gets framed up and how it gets measured, I think it's whatever you think is going to make sense. But I think we really need to think about, and I don't think that's easy just to come off the top of your head. I'm not expecting that, but we do need some sense of, how are you going to gauge how satisfied customers are?
Okay, so I already have 6 goals. That's an awful lot of goals to begin with, and if you're going to be adding in, I mean, I've never set more than, whenever I've had to set goals, I've always set either like 2 short-term goals and 3 long-term goals. I already have 3 goals here, and you're going to add more. That's an awful lot for me to consider to work on with having to deal with everything else. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I think what I have here is enough.
No, I understand, but there's different models, HR models that have been used. I mean, I've used the Xerox, I've used IBM's, I've used proprietary ones for different companies. And I understand what you're saying about 6 goals is a lot. Maybe in the past in other areas, the way that those have been administered has been onerous, but these aren't meant to be onerous, and they're meant to be just goals. It's just, you're not by yourself. I mean, you've got the department, you've got the board. Part of these, you need cooperation from us, you need cooperation from town departments. I mean, there's a lot. So I don't think adding 1 or 2 more would be a burden. And certainly, while this board's in place, he's new. I'm like the old guy here for being here a year and a half, which is stunning. So, and there's another year and a half to go. So while we're here, I mean, adding 1 or 2 more, I think we'll take that into account. What you said is you think your plate's full, so on and so forth. I understand, but I want to try and there's a couple of things I want to add in and just run them by you and the board right now. And that's the issue with doing goal settings in the public sphere. We have to do it all here and now. Mm-hmm. So the 2 things I wanted to talk about was for objective 2. You put in program budget through capital planning, maximize system reliability, minimize losses, repair, improve system deficiencies, utilizing the asset management program. And one of the objectives I would like to add to that, perhaps, is meeting with all departments, having, I can't read my own scratch.
Is this my goal number 2?
This would be objective 2. Goal 2, objective.
Okay, so the goal and the goal that I have set
is water main replacement. And as one of the objectives with that, you've got the capital planning and so on and so forth. You either add it in, but I think that I'd like to see you foster a meeting with the other departments to talk about, it's perhaps a highway, fire, anybody else that you think is appropriate to do some long-term planning, so that while you're doing the water main replacement and you're thinking about it, what's in Patrick's head? What's in the selectman's head? What's in, God, the name escapes me. So it's highway. Chief Roderick, I mean, what's, specifically back to the highway though, and anybody else, the Conservation Commission, if we're going to be replacing a main, if we're replacing a main on a street that borders vegetated wetlands, that's going to be a huge thing.
That's down the road.
Absolutely.
That's part of the project. And
before the project, what I want to do is, does the town have any kind of plan about replacing roads or upgrading roads?
Yes.
Or is that, see you, and to meet this objective, 1 meeting with, just call these people together and just say, I'm working on my budget, my long-term plan. Can we sit and talk about fire, Concom, highway, etc.? Have the selectmen come if they want to, the FinCom, if they want the jollies and find out what we're doing. But just get it all together so that when you come back to do your main replacement, you've gotten some input. You've told them, and then, we can go ballistic on them if they try to put roads in without letting us know, 2 months ahead of time, because water main replacements are expensive, and they need a boatload of work.
Right. So I'm already working with the highway surveyor, because that's
Mhm.
normally who the water superintendent works with, is the
Mhm.
highway superintendent or surveyor. The other departments, usually you try to coordinate your road reconstruction.
Mhm.
And so I believe Patrick is working with Dennis or somebody, or Bay State Roads or something, to come up with, Raleigh roads, and then take a look at our asset plan for management replacement and try to marry the two together, so that they're not paving before we replace the water main.
So all you have to do is put something, that objective in there. You're already doing it,
Yeah, that was,
put it in.
okay, I'll add it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying, see, it's not that, you're already doing it, but you need to get credit for it.
Okay,
Do you see my point? You are doing it, Mary Beth, but if you don't have it here, we don't know, and it's just hearsay. This way, and you can determine to work with the highway department and blah, 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 so on and so forth. And the evidence is, we call Patrick, did you do that? Yep, done.
Okay.
Tick.
May I just interject? You need to ask the administrator what the town is doing with, it's called the Beta Consulting Group.
oh,
They organize your highway repairs, construction, everything. The town signed an agreement with them in June.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You need to ask the administrator about that.
they're working on developing, so when our two programs are put together, that's the time we're gonna sit down, because then I'll have mine, they'll have theirs, and we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
But
So-
until we each have our own,
So put that as one of the objectives under goal number 2. That's objective 2.5 or 3, and you can renumber them. Okay? So that's all this is, Mary Beth, is just kind of going through that. And and you had goal number 4 last year, quit smoking, last week, 2 weeks ago. If you want to put that back in, I have no problem with that. I think it's an admirable.
I'll leave it out, you told me to take it out, I'll leave it out.
Okay. It's an admirable goal, however. And the last thing is, I called it goal number 8 because it's using the last document, is I'd like to put in a goal of foster and promote a positive working environment with all other town departments. And I'm going to share this with the other, going to
Can you
ask
go
Deb.
slower, Foster, or what?
Foster and promote a positive working environment with all other town departments.
That's what I meant by stakeholder
And-
satisfaction.
Foster a positive working environment
With all other town departments.
with all, that's not happening now?
I think there's been a lot of swirl, I'll use as a word, going on with a couple of departments in town this year. And I think it was, I'm not gonna blame anybody, and the other people should have picked up the phone as well. But I think that, people get going sometimes, go fast, they just fire off emails, don't look at it. I deal with it every day in the private sector. Why didn't you get to Zurich? Oh, well, I sent you an email 3 weeks ago. Great, they don't have the internet switch that we needed to order. I told you. It doesn't cut it, okay? That's just cost us $30,000, okay? If you had a problem with it, firing off the email and then just going, "Woo, I'm done," and that's not directed at you, it's directed at a lot of other people in the town. People get very complacent with email. That's all. So,
No, because this is the first I've heard of this as far as me.
as I said, it's not an aspersion upon you, it's my observation about the town,
Oh,
okay? And I'm gonna share this with Debbie to say, if you can share this with other departments, I think this is a goal that the department heads should be sharing. And you name the department, and you could probably cite any of them.
so that's gonna be my goal number 7?
I'd like that. Well, I want the other guys here to
No, I think something along those lines makes sense to me. That's what when I was talking about stakeholder satisfaction, that's what I meant.
and
What's the objective?
The objective is working on projects in support of other departments and work in harmony with peers,
Work,
i.e. other town department managers.
okay, work on
Working
projects
on projects in support of other departments
In support of
Other
other
departments.
departments, okay?
and work in harmony with your peers,
Working. Harmony.
the town department managers.
I will say that since Mary Beth took over, that
Mhm.
the relationship between us, the fire department and water department has greatly improved.
Absolutely. I know it, I can see it.
We work together, you know.
And
on
like I
projects
said,
and
for Mary Beth,
Yeah.
this isn't an aspersion on you. It is a culture in this town that I want to address. And it's, how do you do it? First step, we have control here, and then I'll go to Deb and say, I'd like to have this shared with other people as they do goal setting. Okay?
Mhm. So let me just, I just want to, because I got to type this up, so,
Mm-hmm.
all right, excuse me. Work on projects and support of other departments and work in harmony with peers. Did I
Yep.
leave something out?
No, project in support of other
Projects in
departments.
support,
Do
okay?
you want me to just email it to you?
That would be good,
Okay.
because I just don't want to get it wrong.
No, that's all right.
All right, and what is, so that's the goal, and then the objective, and what, okay. you
Is
said-
foster and I'll email it to you, but foster and provide a
Okay.
positive working environment with all other town departments. And the evidence of it will be working on these projects and working in harmony.
Okay, and then, you said there was another goal,
No,
goal
this-
8?
No, that was it, that was goal 8.
Oh, you
Going
included
up.
number 2 was adding to that, when you said you had 2, so it's really only, so I have 7 goals?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, no, you have 8.
okay, I
Because
only
I'm
have
gonna-
7.
Actually, if you look, the numberings comes right up as far as objectives.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that too.
3, 4, 5,
So you actually,
6.
that's,
So you have 8 goals with the one I just added?
Yeah, oh, wow, you're right, Mark, look at that numbering is way off, so I actually have
so you
7
actually have
goals.
7.
7, I numbered them
Just
wrong,
added
sorry.
There's objectives got messed up on the numbering.
Yes.
But you have 8 goals.
You
No.
have- You should have 7 now.
7.
No. Goal 1, assess current training. Goal 2, water main. Goal 3, maintain and operate. Goal 4, oh, sorry. I'm using last week's. Never mind.
Okay.
I got all my notes on this one. Sorry about that.
So we have 7 goals, correct?
7, yeah.
Okay. 7 objectives.
And on the goal 6, the objective, I'd really like to explore
Oh,
a
I'm
new
supposed
a new software. s-
which I already am on. Soft right.
Okay,
That
well
was
then,
it.
let's get you the credit for it. Say the
I
objective is
forgot to update, I'm actually looking, I must be looking at the last one too. The next day after the water board meeting, I reached
So-
out to the company that has that software, and I thought I would have some information actually for the board tonight, but I haven't got it yet.
So
It's- To
introduce
me,
a new
it's
software
asinine to be
package.
using an antiquated system.
Yeah, so that would be, number 8 would be introduce a new
Yes.
software package. Objective,
Yeah.
Well, that's
Swore I
goal
wrote
6, it's improve the budget reporting, and then the objective attached to that. would
oh,
be
this is the page tree, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm just adding to objective number 6.
Okay.
And so, Mary
Oh,
Beth, again, this, I don't have, I haven't put the words to it that John did, but on goal number 1, I would rather see goal number 1 broadened to kind of employee satisfaction and development. And so the assessing the training, I mean, improve the, or make the current training efforts more effective, that can be one of the objectives, but the goal should be in terms of employee satisfaction and development.
All right, well, I'm gonna ask that you write that goal up for me, because I'd rather not guess what you're
Well,
trying to get
then
at.
I will draft it, but it's coming to you as a draft.
Okay.
I'm not expecting you to take my words and then you take that as the goal. I'm expecting you to, I would like you to kind of put it in your own.
Well, it's not
So-
my goal.
So Mary
It's
Beth,
something you're asking me to do,
let-
so.
Let him draft
Yeah.
what he wants, send it to
Absolutely.
you, make any modification you think is appropriate. I'll send you the stuff that I wrote up. You put together one document and then shoot it back out to us.
Yep,
And
sure.
then we have to, again, feed it all back to Mary Beth. And so at the next meeting, hopefully, we can get it done. If not, and there's no gun to our head on this. I mean,
Mhm.
just trying to get this done. That's all.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So, okay?
Yep.
We'll do that. So that's,
It would just be much easier for me if you did draft it up, because then I know exactly what where you're coming from and what you're looking for.
well, yeah, I'm gonna send you
Yeah,
what I think. And
no, I
then
think that's great, thank you.
we'll work on it. Goal setting, general business number 1, that was the goal setting, yep. 2, superintendent's report. Oh, we don't have time. All right, you know what, I want to end this meeting at 8 o'clock. I'm going to change the agenda order around a little bit. I want to do the minutes, and then we'll spend the rest of the time on the superintendent's report, okay? What are the items you have on, why is that not on here? General business number 3. Okay, there's a little conflict there. It says suggestions to the board for future topics, and then it says approve the format of the webpage for topic for next, oh, that's one of the topics for the next meeting, okay. We'll deal with that at the end. Minutes. So, September 27th minutes are in order.
Under the 27th, under the second page, the bottom, FY18 capital, under replace Ford Ranger, it says Commissioner Emery says it's not gonna pass inspection. That's actually not the truck I was talking about. I was talking about the crane truck.
So let's strike that.
I'm sorry, which one, Mark?
Yeah, when, under replacing the Ford Ranger, it says, Commissioner Emery said it's not gonna pass inspection. I was talking about the crane truck.
Okay, which, I apologize, which
Second,
minutes?
the 27th.
Okay, and then what page?
Second page down the bottom. Under FY18 capital.
Oh, there it is, okay, yeah.
That's just,
One of the bullets?
yeah, it's
Which-
under
which-
the replaced 2001 Ford Ranger. And it said, Commissioner Emery says it's not gonna pass inspection. I said, well, that discussion was about the holes in the side of the crane truck.
Which
And it-
bullet is it, Mark? I'm not seeing that right off the bat. It
It's the
says-
second bullet from the bottom on page 2. The second
Oh.
sentence.
Take that, you want that ticket?
Strike it.
Strike.
Yep.
Okay.
Other than that,
Make a motion to accept them with revisions.
Seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passed. So, September 6th minutes are in order. Any issues, questions, feedback?
Nope. So I make a motion to accept the minutes
Second.
of September the 6th.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. And that gets us to the operation, Mary Beth, on the agenda items, the note you have here, just add it in. That doesn't need to be voted on. About the,
Well, it's more so I made that note so I wouldn't forget.
oh,
And then I figured if you said it again, it would be in the record, then I really wouldn't forget.
so that approve a format of a webpage topic for the next meeting. That way it's either way. All right, so let's get to the operations report. 10 gallons, 14. How are we doing with the cross connections? Is that done yet?
No, we have, there's 339 surveys to do. Last meeting, we're at 67. We conducted 67.
Okay.
It's a slow process that we, gotta send out letters. We only have the property address, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the person's mailing address. So we make a couple of attempts. If the letter doesn't go through, then we're actually tagging the property with the letter, and that's working too. People are calling. In the packet, you asked about the lien list. So you have the initial, now mind you, this is the initial draft, this is how we go through the process. There are over 200 people on this list, but there's reasons why. People pay late, remember September 30th was the cutoff. People pay late their water bills, so it's any overdue balance. So that's what that is. By the time we actually get down to this, that will be checked against any list or anything. We've been, I think we had 30 or 35 liens we did last year. So, and it's pretty much the same people.
I'm making sure I'm not on here.
You are,
Am I?
yeah.
I'm not surprised.
No, you're not, are you really?
117 Hillside?
Yeah. With what you just said,
It's because,
the bills sent and we do them once a month.
right, so what
Yeah.
happens is if it's paid late, or if it's, or if it's,
Probably around $100, I bet, right?
it's good, because it's
No.
any balance. So this is the initial cut. This is why I didn't want to really do this first round like this, but you would ask for it.
No.
Because this isn't really anything that's gonna go anywhere. This list is gonna continue to shrink.
Mhm.
So the next time you see the list, there'll be like 30 people on the list. I'm not gonna keep printing out the list
No.
each time. Unless you want it.
Nope. Yeah, all my friends are on here.
So what's the first column, Mary Beth? What does that reference?
The parcel number?
Okay, all right. Sorry, I should have looked.
Is that the parcel map, parcel map?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. No, good. Show me the rebill out.
Well, I'm just looking at,
Last meeting, something came up about putting a dollar amount to all of our losses. I'm pretty sure, and if I didn't, I apologize, we had our water audit report done in June of 2016. I gave, in your packet, you have a copy of section 7, cost of losses. So it's using industry standards of how, I think, this one is industry standard for cost of loss. In order for us to put all of our individual losses, leaks, I would have to run that through the calculation with our rate structure, with billing. So we use the industry standards as a ballpark. I can't be running all of our leaks through the billing program. with Pennachuck. So we use, gives us a good idea of how we calculate the losses, apparent losses and real losses,
Yeah, we'll read that over.
okay?
Right, but it's a cost build-up, it's not a revenue loss. At least that's what it looks like.
Right, but you had asked Bernie, what is the dollar value? So what
Right.
we use what it costs to chemicals, what it costs for fuel, and what it costs electrical, and we come up with a dollar value for us.
Right, but that wasn't what was done. My response was to another set of numbers, which was essentially taking the water losses and multiplying it by the revenue loss, the estimated revenue loss. So it was about, if you lost 1 million gallons, that's 1,000 times 25, that was $25,000, because it's $25 per thousand. So this is a cost build-up. So this is fine, I'll take a look at
But this
it.
is the other side. Didn't I give that to you last meeting that was that not what you asked for, what I
No.
gave you at the last meeting? That little spreadsheet?
This is what I was asking for.
This
is like-
one I just gave you
The
now?
one now is going to give us an actual cost of
Okay,
loss.
okay, good, all right, I'm glad I got the right thing. Good. Oh, you had asked that we run all our accounts, based upon the new criteria, that the do not shut off list of anyone 65 or older. I'm still working on that. I just got the list from the town clerk, today, and I'll be getting, for that. And so it's not as easy as you would think, based upon the policy that the board set. So for example, here's just one example. We're gonna work through all these things. If a resident lives in an apartment building, but the water bill doesn't come in that person's name, it comes in, this is responsibility of the apartment complex or the property manager. You set the policy where anyone residing in the residence goes on the do not shut off list. So if you have an apartment complex that has one person that's over 65, but yet the rest of the residents are whatever age, the
Is there 1 meter?
1 meter, we can't shut that off based upon the policy you set. So we're looking at some of these things that are cropping up, to try to work on that, but I just want to let you know that we are working on that to code the accounts. What was it?
That's the $3,500 to
Yes,
Pennachuck?
yes. Does the board have any specific questions about anything?
No, just going through it. There was one. Kittery Ave. Oh, that's June. That's one we talked about a long time ago.
Yeah. So that would be my request, that this report be kind of edited
This is a good
down
area.
so that we're not trying to go through a whole bunch of old stuff.
Like
Is
what?
that,
The things from January.
For what? What section?
Well, it doesn't have a name to it. It's just several pages in, and it starts at January 21st at 2:30, January 27th, February 14th.
Is that the
It's like a
unaccountable
log.
water?
There's
That
no
the
title on the
leaks?
section.
Okay, so this report right here is actually, I'm keeping it because when it's all said and done, this is what I just print out and turn into the state at the end of the year.
So you can keep that, just hide that section, and just give us the last, the current month. Okay? It's a Word doc, right?
Right, but all this is the backup, so when I go to put it into the spreadsheet,
Mm-hmm.
it's all of the backup for the main breaks and the leaks for the months prior. It's your months, it's the detail for the months. On the page before that, it says main breaks and service leaks and then unaccounted for water.
Given that you're short of staff, leave it as is.
It's the backup. You don't want the backup anymore?
No, we do. Right now, just leave it, keep going on the way you're doing it. Okay?
This is something that Rob and I do, so it's not about the staff thing, so if you want it out, we'll just take it out,
Just leave it, no, we don't want it out. Just leave it as is.
okay?
Carry on with it. Just a question, and I'm sorry I'm gonna ask it, the very last page,
Uh-huh.
why the heck does total gallons sold go up to 10 million in February? And then March and April and January all around 7, then starts climbing back up again in May.
Oh, well,
Which is
that was,
understandable, but,
no idea, that was in 2015. I'd have to
Okay.
go back and look.
yeah, in 2016, it goes back in line, so.
Well,
All right,
I mean,
you know
part
what?
of that
I
is
didn't realize it was 2015.
It might have been a
35
delay
days.
in breeding or something on that idea.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
whatever
just-
reason.
It's a 5-week February,
okay,
or a 5-week
could be.
5-week January, basically.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. No, anything else you want to call out to us, Mary Beth?
Just one other thing, so we have a project we've been working on with, it's the new water main that's going in over 414 Haverhill Street. So we've been working with the contractor, and just to give the board an update, they've tapped the water main out on Haverhill Street, and the extension is in. They have run the 6-inch fire service out. I believe they have the 2 fire hydrants are in. And we actually energized the water main today, so they're moving right along over there. One of the things that had come to my attention was that developer had asked for an amendment to their order of conditions for the site, and they had asked to, that amendment was to drill a large irrigation withdrawal well, which is right across the street from well number 2. So I wrote a letter to the Conservation Commission, because that's where the order of conditions came from. And I attended the meeting as the board requested. And my letter was read into the record. And, I asked some specific questions about the zoning bylaw that we have talks about affecting quality and quantity of existing sources of supply and future sources. So, not knowing and not having a legal opinion on that yet, I just, wanted just that to be considered or looked at, and started the discussions. Mr. Beaslak started the discussions, and the developer stood up and said, I withdraw. So they're not installing the well. They didn't want to go through which apparently sounded like they had to go through that on another property. A lot of monitoring wells, monitoring pump tests.
They're across the street from our best well. I mean,
And it was gonna cost them a lot of money.
It was going to cost them a lot of money to
go
develop
legally
that,
and
and
do
to
everything that was
continue
required.
monitoring, which we would have required continual monitoring.
yeah.
So they withdrew their application, so that they will not be drilling a well.
Pleased they're doing the right thing. I mean, as part of
Yes.
the community, it's nice that they understood. So,
Yeah. So I just
thanks to
wanted,
that developer.
I actually watched that meeting, so.
did you like how they put the board up in front of me, so when I was talking, nobody could see me? Did you see that?
Did you ask for that? Next meeting is the 25th, I believe, on the calendar here.
Yep.
Then we should probably say 11/8.
Let's see, I thought we already had them scheduled out.
I don't have them.
Yeah, there is a schedule.
I think it's scheduled out to the end of the year, if I remember right.
Ah, okay.
It's on the website.
25th of this month.
Mm-hmm,
Then we have the 8th
mm-hmm.
and the 29th.
29th, we skipped a week, okay.
I don't know why we did that, but that's what we have, that's what I have.
Oh, it's holiday week.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Well,
Oh, Thanksgiving, yeah.
And then what do you have for December?
Then the 13th of December.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's it.
25, 8, 29, and 13, is that what you have, Mark?
25, 8, 29, 13.
Yep.
Okay, that
Yep.
carries us through the year.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good. I thought I put them all on my calendar, but this one.
It's
I
on the
didn't.
webpage if you forget. It's right here.
Perfect. But no, I thought I put them all in here and I missed the 25th. So, okay. Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. Thank you, Heather.
Bye.
Good
Good night.